live at Pompeii on Friday, the 18th of December, 2020. How are you?
Good evening.
Good
Good,
evening.
thank you.
Hi. How's life out there in this craziness? However, this lady was not absolutely right. It was not just the second day, I think it was the seventh day or something like that. Yeah, I participated in this conference. So on September 11, 2001, I had been in Hawaii, big island in Hilton Head Island, or in Hilton Head, a big Hilton hotel on Hawaii. And I know the night before we spoke about emotion and love and all those good things. On this 11th of September, I wake up seeing the big sun, had my running, jogging around in this hotel park and went into the elevator and somebody told me, have you heard that about the World Trade Center? The columns are collapsed. And on this day, everything was not the way it was designed to be. Yeah, and there was a big come together in the big room of this hotel. About 2,000 people were there. And a nurse from New York and a lady from New York who took the microphone and spoke that she called, that her boyfriend called her up and on the 103rd floor about that in the World Trade Center and told her that there was smoke in the corridors. And a short while after that, she couldn't reach him anymore. So she was full of tears in her face. And then comes and I think this was this lady. And this is Assad, a Muslim from Pakistan, and spoke about retribution. And I was standing quite close to him, and so I was scared a little bit about that he will be lynched now, that he will be murdered. And I tried to make my way through the crowd to give him some protection. And this guy's Bernie, a Jew from New York. And after a while, Tony put them both on the stage, and I asked myself why he's doing that now. And do you think? So I expected they're fighting them now, each other. And then he started a process actually designed by Sigi Jung, a psychologist from Switzerland. And Sigi Jung made a lot of work in the area of archetypes. They're fractions of our soul, yes? And so they're the main four archetypes called the warrior, the lover, the magician, and the sovereign. And so if this did not happen on this very day, the result was so surprising, so amazing. I never ever thought this is possible. So in about the scope of 1 hour, they finally hugged and kissed each other. And I was very surprised that there's a way to reach peace. And, he shouted really on Assad on the stage, "Make your warrior!" And he instantly took his arms behind his back as if he had a sword, such typical swords you have in these Arab area, this bended sword. So he just did that initially without thinking. So if it wouldn't have happened at this very day, I would come to the conclusion this is staged. This is not real. And so I had to notice there are really ways that we go in our potential and achieve things which are normally not possible or not believed to be possible. Just have some ideas what happened. So I was one of the members of this group. And when this really happened, that they hugged and kissed each other, so actually fierce enemies, after a process of about 1 hour, they just hugged and achieved peace. For me, it was nearly not believable. We really had all tears in our eyes because we were witnessing something which we thought is not possible. Though this was a day. And Assad was in the US homeland, in Hawaii. And he really provoked all those standing around of him. And he said, if you took away our home and give us back our bathroom, we shall celebrate? No. We will take away your home and we will give you back, and we will give back your bathroom. And this was, at this very day, extremely provocative. So because everybody was shocked. Okay, then I think here it started now.
Today. This film is about how to create peace and is a contribution to the understanding of the emotions of those who are in a position to negotiate for peace. Facing the challenge of
and growing and expanding all over this earth, life always moves forward. It never moves backward. Children are laughing. People are achieving. If this was just one more event in your life, another piece of the fabric coming together to create more of you, the real you showing up, what would you decide to do? How would you decide to deal with tragedy? What decision could you make? Because in a state of certainty, you know what's right, not what I know, what you know. You have to make your own choices. We can all share our point of view, but you have to make your own choices. What's right for you to do? How can you use this? What can you remember about humanity or about yourself? What emotions are available at any moment for you?
In talking about gratitude, Robbins began with a comforting theme of appreciating one's own blessings, but he gradually expanded the circle of appreciation until it included the experience of humanity as a whole. Robbins encouraged the audience to deliberately assume the responsibility of leadership, to get outside of themselves, resolve their own inner turmoil, so they could have resources to go back and make a difference in their communities. He wanted to make sure that everyone in the room used this as an opportunity to become more resourceful, not just that day, but in their lives, to go back home and be a positive force. The participants were then asked to re-examine the moment in which they first heard of that morning's destruction in order to better understand the way they habitually produce meaning.
What did you focus on when you first thought about this? When you first heard it, you probably had several things. You focused on one thing and then another and then another. Is that true? And then as you focused it, what meaning did you give to that? And then
So this seminar was all about belief system, value system, and so what do you really believe? What's very deep inside of you? And it's not important what happens to you. It's important what meaning do you give that what happens to you. So it's not in the first place important what happens outside. It's important which meaning we give to what happens outside. Yeah, we can go and so this is all catastrophe. They are all so stupid. Or we can say the meaning of that is we really have to grow. We really have to go in our full potential in order to turn around things, because this is a moment of crisis. And we can choose to hide ourselves in our homes and think and hope the injection will not get us, or we will not be injected. We hope, and perhaps Trump can change the things, or we can give it a meaning that we have to step in our full potential, in our full responsibility, that we are the ladies and gentlemen and warriors that are responsible to turn the things around. There's a meaning that now it comes to the very point, to the very time in this 26,000 cycle around the center of the cosmos, where we can really turn around the things. This is a one and only chance for the next 26,000 years. And this is a big challenge, and we choose this, have chosen this challenge in the first place, because we have chosen to incarnate in this very moment.
what did you decide out of that? Did you decide you have to be more careful? Did you decide you have more faith? Did you decide to put things in balance? Did you decide to be more grateful? Did you decide to give some blood? What did you decide before we talked this morning? I want to know how you processed initially, what you focused on, what meaning you gave, what you did in your head, what action did you do, and then.
So what are you focusing about, and what meaning do you give that, and what is the action you choose to do? And this is exactly what we have to ask ourselves now. What is our focus? Is our focus to start now a new civilization? Who has the focus to start now a new civilization? Who has the focus to start now a civilization where love really is important and means something. Who gives it the meaning that this is a challenge. This is not a problem, this is a challenge and a big chance. And what is the action we are prepared to do? So it's all about action. If we do what our government would like us to do, sit on our sofa and just wait and do nothing, who thinks that our government gives good recommendations to us? Or is it a hint to exactly do the opposite?
And a little analysis together so we can see the diversity. We'll have you be in groups of 7 people so you really get a different set of perspectives.
Here, Robbins explains some frameworks for how people produce meaning, starting from the fact that a stimulus, such as that morning's news, prompts one to ask questions. All emotions are based on a triad of 3 areas of experience working together: physiology, focus, and language patterns. This triad is represented by the triangle that Robbins is now drawing on the board.
Whatever stimulates it, somebody's request, somebody's demand, somebody's interest, television, whatever. What will control your focus, though, day to day, even with that stimulus, is questions.
So it all starts with questions. Yeah, our brain can only work in a decent way if we ask ourselves decent questions. So a decent question in the situation where we are in today is, how it's possible to turn out around the things and start this very civilization where we waited now for 26,000 years. Is it possible that we can make something, start a process where we really get out of slavery, where we really become free human beings? So for many people, it's a catastrophe. I take it as a chance, as a beautiful chance that we really step in our full potential, that we now really go for the maximum aim, to really get free, to really find this little hole in this matrix to escape. It all starts with questions. And it's so important that you are very aware of the questions you pose to yourself all the day long. What are your main questions? And all of you have main questions. You may have a question, how can I make the most profit out of the things which happen today? And there are many people who ask themselves, how can I profit? How can I make more money out of that? How can I influence my career positive from what's happened at the moment? So it's your focus. And if we have this focus to free mankind, I think it's a unique chance. Be aware of the questions, because if you don't know, if you are not aware of the questions you're posing to yourself every day, you may ask the wrong questions. And there are always more intelligent questions. So it all starts with intelligent questions.
So when this happened, the question you asked yourself was, and your focus is like, oh my God, who did this? Then we know what's going to happen. You're going to move towards anger. If your question was, how could man do this to man? What's humanity coming to? Then you've gone to a different place. If you went to a question like, God, I wonder how these families are dealing with that, you're going to come up with a different set of emotions. Your question was, how can I really serve in this area? How can I help? You're going to go to a different place. Your questions control your focus, and your focus will control your feelings, because it will.
That's very important. Questions control your focus, and focus controls your feelings. And if you have now the question, how can I protect me against this deadly virus? I don't know whether this is the most intelligent question you can pose to you. Or you understand some more things, some more details, some more background. And you start to understand the big game. And then you may ask, who's controlling this game? Who's pulling the strings? What is the plan of this being who's controlling the strings, who's pulling the strings? And if you understand a little bit the art of war Sun Tzu, you will pose the question, who is doing that? Who has designed that? And you will not end with having anger against politicians, because you may come to the conclusion that these are just actors. Just obey to some directives, some orders. So I think the most important question is, who's doing that? And there are some constants, there's some common thinking. This is not a human being. So we must not expect any human feelings. So we must not expect that there is something of humanity in this plan. And there are some plans very much published, like on the Georgia Guidestones, on the Deagle list. And I think it's important that we accept it, that this is really possible, that they really want to get rid of 7 billion people, of 270 million US people, on 50 million people in Germany and the UK. And if we think that this is really possible, we will step in another set of action, like, how can I protect myself against this deadly virus? What I think is a very stupid question. Only those people can ask themselves who really have a very small understanding of biochemistry.
Move you towards a meaning. It'll move you in a direction. Day to day, moment to moment, it's your questions. What controls your focus throughout your life is your values. So if you value, for example, security as your highest value, I know this event is unnerving for you.
And this is the big problem out there. Many people out there have a high-ranking value called security. And you know, there's security and here's freedom. Yeah. And the higher you rank security, the more you accept that freedom goes down and down. And that just means slavery. So how important is freedom? How important is love? Do you think that love, a high value of love, is compatible with the value of safety, security? So if you have a high value of security and a low level of love, yeah, it's okay for you to buy such a sex puppet. There you have absolute security. And perhaps this is what's happening outside. Love needs freedom. And freedom is the opposite of slavery and security.
Right? If you value, let's say, making a difference, some part of you actually has maybe a sense of excitement about this. Because you know that these are the kinds of moments, these are defining moments in which you can truly make a difference in the world. Day to day, people won't pay attention. People pay attention when there's pain. People want help when there's pain. So it all depends on what you value.
A core concept in Robin's thinking is that all human behavior is driven by 6 basic human needs. The first 4 are the needs of the personality, and
It's important for you to evaluate for yourself. How important is it, this value of certainty? Because these are very flowing times. Nothing is certain. How important is it for yourself to be significant? Some politicians like this Markus Söder has a high value. It's important for him to be significant. Or how important is it for you, this value, this virtue of connection and love? So if you're looking out there, I think the values turned around. Connection and love is deep, low, and certainty and significance is high. And this value battle each other. There's no way that you have that you value significance, to be significant, and you have to be absolutely certain what's going on, and have a high ranking of connection and love. Do you want to connect to other people? Then you have a problem with this isolation mode. And they exactly know that this isolation mode gets down connection and love. And they fear that we connect. And they fear that we act out of our heart. And this is why they pushing this isolation thing.
And I think it's a big misunderstanding.
Contribution are spiritual needs.
So this human need of growth and development, do you think those guys out there have a high ranking valuation of growth, of development? And in nature, you have only 2 processes. Yeah, it's growth or decay. What's not growing must decay. And in a mode of isolation, you have only decay, because you can only grow when you're connecting yourself with others. And therefore, we meet at a spot where we all have the option to grow. We cannot grow in isolation. And contribution. Do anybody really think that if he lives in closed doors, he has the option to contribute? Stay in his home, watching TV, sitting on the sofa. However, do you think we can contribute if we meet and making something together, building leadership groups, and show the world a role model, what's possible? And if there is a health issue, do you think it makes a little bit more sense to enhance your immune system, the power of your immune system? You start with your 6 human needs. And we are so much brainwashed that this certainty thing is so important for many. And it's so important to be significant. So everybody has another tattoo. This makes me significant. Why do people put tattoos on their skin? They want to be significant. No, they have to act to perhaps be a little bit significant. Or better, they contribute.
which are essential to human fulfillment. All 6 human needs can be met in negative or positive ways. For example, in a situation such as September 11, many people experienced a loss of significance and certainty, which could lead them to the emotion of anger. Anger restores the sense of significance. The angry person feels important. And certainty, the angry person knows who is to blame. Even though a destructive emotion such as anger.
This is also important, that certainty, you have to know the person who is to blame. This is a virus. Yeah. And you know exactly who is responsible for all of that. This is a virus. And people now go into a mode to fight the virus. They're so blind, wearing such strong blinders. We have to fight the virus. And in order to fight the virus, they're prepared to do everything to get this injection because they want to fight the virus. Because they need this level of certainty. And it's clear who is the bad guy, the virus. And in order to fight the virus, they do everything, no matter how stupid it is. However, if they would start with connection and love and contribution and growth, the world would be another place. But how many out there just thought one time in their lifetime about their human needs, about what they really need? So they have to shut down their TV and start to think by their own.
And feel good, it is difficult to abandon it when it satisfies 2 or more needs. The goal is to find more positive and sustainable ways of meeting one's needs so that one can rise above one's own personal emotional challenges and address higher quality problems that can lead to helping others. It is ultimately by serving others that all 6 human needs are met most intensely.
If you value significance more than anything else, you're pissed off about this if you're an American. Right? If you value certainty, you may be pissed off because you're afraid you're going to lose that. So you get into anger as a way of overcoming that. If you value connection, you probably are trying to think of all the people you can connect with, or you probably called people you care about the situation, or you shared it. So that's the highest thing you have. And if you value variety, this is like, wow, this is drama. This is terrible, but it's a little exciting for you. Because there's no bad or good here. This is about authentically knowing how you react to situations.
It is extremely enhancing your all being if you are aware about your 6 human needs. It's extremely important to be aware about your programming, because this hierarchy of your human needs determines your way of action. And you have to be aware that this hierarchy of your human needs had been programmed by others. And when you understand that the hierarchy of your human needs are not your human needs, but they are programmed by others in a big brainwashing process, you become to the awareness, you get to the awareness that you have to change that. You are able to change your programming. You are able to change your program. So if you just get the insight that love and connection should rise in your hierarchy, yeah, you start to rewrite your programming, put it in this hierarchy on a higher level, and ask yourself the question, what can I do? How can I change my way of thinking in order that love and connection rises up? So we as human beings have all options to reprogram ourselves. This is all about NLP, neuro linguistic programming. But NLP is just a tool. You can use this tool to manipulate others, or you can use this tool in order to start to program yourself. Because you get the awareness that you are being programmed. And NLP has the option that you get to the awareness that you had been programmed. And if you understand these tools of programming, you really have all options. Start to program yourself. And this is now, this seminar, it was connected with 3 other seminars. It cost me about, these days, $20,000. So this is a little bit an elitic choice you do, yeah? And this is not something for everybody. So an European guy who flew to Hawaii and did all that, and there was a second seminar in Hilton Head in North Carolina. Yes, you had to put really money on the table. And however, now it's a time that all this knowledge, all this thinking has to spread out. That we as humans have to participate, have to share our knowledge. And for that, we need this love and connection thing.
You might look at somebody and be upset and not reacting the way you're reacting, but no one's going to react exactly the way you're going to react except someone who has your exact model of the world. And if you limit your life to people that share all your same beliefs and values and rules, you would have put yourself on a tiny, small little island with very few people. To be part of humanity, you have to appreciate all these points of view and then allow them, some of them may influence you as we talk about this. Because some people are going to...
You see those people who are in a state of anger when they see other people wearing no masks. So do you know why this happens? They value this thing of significance. Yeah, they are so significant. They know the truth. And they show you what you have to do. And it's just a program. And they never ever get to the awareness that they are programmed. And it doesn't make sense to start arguing about things with them. So you have to extract yourself from those guys. And they will feel this kick of a military boost in their back, in their fat bottom, in order that they become this awareness, they get this awareness that something is wrong. But you shall not interfere with them. You have to get out of the area. Otherwise, they will fight you.
You're going to go, this is bullshit. People die every damn day. Oh, now because it's this dramatic way it's done, you're going to be upset, and someone else is going to go, how can you say that? My family's in New York City, right? Someone's going to say, I don't know. I think, this is America's payback for all the shit they've done. Someone's going to go, what? We do more things for the world? So this could be a really inspiring conversation. Or if you start to get hooked, if you feel yourself getting hooked by something someone's saying, instead of getting hooked by them, you got to realize you're the one who's hooked. It has nothing to do with them. Why is this bothering you so much? What is it that you're overvaluing for you to get this upset? Because you get that upset, something you're probably overvaluing. You're valuing too much. You're valuing it more than the relationship or the learning of the conversation. So see if you can stay fascinated by the unique different ways instead of judgment about everybody's point of view.
The group was then asked to break off into small groups of 5 to 7 people, each group including at least one American and one non-American. The purpose of these discussions was to examine the relationship between one's initial emotional reactions and one's system of meaning, as well as to observe this relationship in other participants.
However, this syntax was not quite right. So first, this thing happened. And perhaps we shall stay to the real syntax. Come on. Once again. So now the both of them on the stage. Now it starts. Come on. perhaps here. Okay. I think now it starts.
Standing in a warrior state. Stay in that state. And just tell you, my warrior says, my warrior says.
So now he starts the process. Now he asks himself to get in this warrior state. And you have to condition this warrior state or any archetype state. You have a very specific way how you have your hands, your body language has to be in a very specific state.
Says, go.
My warrior says, wait, but no, my warrior, I'm not doing
Stay with your warrior. Watch me. Get the hell out of here. I'm going to hear your warrior. Make it sound again. Again.
So it starts with sound, with the sound of a warrior. So how long does it take to get in the state of a warrior for you? Is it a split of a second or do you need some minutes? So it's important that you step into this state of a warrior in a split of a second.
Hey, here. What does your warrior say? I'm going to make yourself better today, now, in a way that'll make you better and long-term serve both Arabs and Israelis. Warrior says what?
My warrior says, let's sit down.
Stay there.
Yeah, I can't.
So for some people, it's very difficult to step in this warrior. However, it's extremely important that you easy have access into this warrior state. And in these times, it's extremely important that you can jump into this state of a warrior in the split of a second.
My warriors are overpowered by.
He is still not in a state of a warrior. A warrior doesn't smile that way. Yeah. So if you are not in a state of a warrior, you are in the state of a coward. And you want other people to solve the solution, to solve the problem. And we have to take the responsibility to solve the problem, that we have the responsibility. And we only take this responsibility if we are able to step in this warrior state.
They can't come with any positive side of the warrior, if you're asking me.
You can't come to a positive side of this warrior.
They can't. If you're asking for a positive, how I'll use that.
That's right. I'm asking the warrior, not the dead warrior who's going to die because all he does is fight.
So he was in the state of a dead warrior. Now he steps gradually in the state of a warrior.
Stupid ass. A warrior who has a purpose beyond fighting. A warrior who's really trying to serve a higher good. Not an asshole that was conditioned from youth. Not someone who lives in pain. A real warrior. Not a thug who calls himself a warrior so he can feel better about himself.
So not a thug. Anna, what did you do?
Oh, I just tried a little bit more isopropyl.
Okay.
You said everybody has to find their own doses, you know.
Yes. Okay.
I'm trying to find out what's the right dose for me.
Okay. So she activated her own warrior who is telling her what's the right dose. But you should ask your magician for the right dose, not your warrior. Yeah?
No, I'm not asking my warrior.
We just have this warrior archetype.
Yeah, I know my warrior's fine. So my
in
my
this
magician
warrior,
is watching.
however, in this warrior archetype, yeah, you will never ever find the right dose. Okay.
No, I'm totally in my magician, but I can watch you talking about warriors being in my magician.
Okay, you're really magic.
Is out to spread violence because they felt violence themselves at one time or someone they cared about. That's a thug. A warrior has a higher purpose.
A warrior has a higher purpose. A warrior is not a thug. Yeah. So, you know, when I participated in the seminar, I, in the first place, I did refuse myself to deal in the military, to serve in the military. So I did some things in hospital and so on. And for me, it was a new way of thinking that a warrior has a positive effect on ourselves. So I really refused myself from having something like a warrior in myself. But that was stupid. The warrior is extremely important.
In talking to Bernie, Robbins is talking to Assad. This is an indirect way of addressing Assad without engaging his sensitivity to domination. Robbins is also deliberately intense on Bernie in order to leave the option open of being hard on Assad.
The warrior to sit down with the other warrior and from a position of from strength as warriors to talk, to actually do the planning side of what a warrior does.
To change our focus, we must become someone we are not. At this moment, Robbins has positioned both Assad and Bernie to become another. The archetypes are imaginary entities that are used to bring out an alternative identity in each man.
So is this very important? I have to.
The planning side of what a warrior does.
To change our focus, we must become someone we are not.
To change our focus, we have to become someone who we are not. There's a problem out there. They're always the same. We have to develop a few things we normally do not have. We have to shut down TV. We have to shut down radio and think from another perspective. Think of the perspective of a warrior, of a magician, of a lover, of a sovereign. This is extremely powerful, but normal people don't have any clue about that. In order to change your focus, you have to become somebody who you are not at the moment. In order to get an idea what we really have to do, we have to become a human being, which we are not at the moment. And therefore, this archetype of a warrior, of a lover, of a magician, of a sovereign is so important, so helpful.
At this moment, Robbins has positioned both Assad and Bernie to become another. The archetypes are imaginary entities that are used to bring out an alternative identity in each man. The process of internal negotiation begins for Bernie as he struggles to find his warrior. Assad's attention is intensely focused on Bernie as he must take notes of everything that Bernie says and so incorporates Bernie into himself.
Is recognize how this experience can make you a better person, how you can share this with others, take the message to the world and make the message global. The warrior says, tell Tony to distribute the videotapes, the live video feed from these events, to make that message global.
No, these are the 4 archetypes. The warrior, and it's all about action, strength. The magician is humor and imagination. Do you think the archetype of a magician is really out there? How much humor do people have when they're wearing this mask? When you were shopping today at Wolfsburg, how much humor did the people around you had? Were they in a good humorous state? So 0. So, you know, when people are laughing, they have to show this part of their face. And if this part of your face is hidden, there's not so much humor possible. And this lover has a very deep connection. So what's about, if you're wearing that mask, what's about a deeper connection? You know, what happens out there is NLP, is neuro-linguistic programming. With a mask, did you ever see people kissing wearing a mask? How much connection is possible with people wearing a mask? And do you see a sovereign wearing a mask? So what happens out there is very much along neuro-linguistic programming. However, programming to your, not to the positive side of yourself.
So Bernie, now I want your magician. Where's your magician? Okay. Good. Right. Have your hands up. Okay. Magician. I'll hold this for you. Okay. Because I want you to stay with it. Make the magician sounds. Puff. Make the magician at his best. Puff. That's it. And keep on hanging on the magician now. Remember, the magician comes to a place of the humor of it. The magician sees the simplicity. The magician is not caught up like the warrior even slightly. The magician has a completely different perspective on this. The magician knows how to snap their fingers and create a change instead of having to fight forever to make it happen. The magician has magic available, and the magician is kind of playful. I'll turn you this way so you can see it. Up here, it's hard to hear. Go ahead.
The magician says, just, hey, why don't we just, play volleyball?
So if you change your archetype, your view on the world, so it's possible that you step in a state of humor, that you really are able to change your perspective.
The magician says, hey, let's go sailing. The magician says, let's take a clean map with nothing but latitude and longitude, with just the water, and let's just create the map the way we lay out this floor, this room. The magician says, wouldn't it be nice if, and what if we could, and perhaps we can.
By the way, these phrases the magician's offering interrupt the entire pattern and create something possible.
The magician says, it's, let's just have fun.
That's good. The magician
says we can be happy. The magician says we don't even need land to be happy. The magician says just be happy.
I think we need this process for all people out there.
Says there's plenty of room in the planet.
Magician says to me.
Magician says to me, bring your kid up differently.
So normally he would never ever put words like that. Bring your kids up differently. So because in Israel or the Jews in the States have a clear concept to bring up the children. And just start thinking differently opens so much opportunities. So he's extremely surprised about his own words. Just changing the way how he looked on the world.
Robbins is moved to tears when Bernie's magician tells him to raise his child without the sense of us versus them. Bernie's child, by the way, is still a month from being born. Bernie's commitment in relation to his unborn child is a commitment of the highest level and shows he is taking full responsibility for the meanings he creates. He does so without even meeting the discussion he wanted with Assad. His conviction comes from within, and he doesn't need to get it from anyone else.
How's that for an answer? That's where the problem is. And that's where the answer is. That's it. The magician is so wise. All right. Give us your lover. Where's your lover?
Question for the lover is, what do I, Bernie, need to do today to take this event and make it the most powerful transformation of my whole life? Have me become better today because of this than I've ever been, and as a result, long-term serve all of humanity.
My lover says, can't we all just get along?
Very good.
My
lover says. Is it a state change here? My lover says.
My lover says, you know, love is more important than war. My lover says, Bernie, go home and give your wife a hug.
My lover says, Bernie.
My lover says, Bernie, Dove, a Hebrew name. My lover says, Bernie, hug your friends, hug your family. My mother says, tell your mother again that you love her.
What does your lover say about Assad?
My lover says Assad has, I'm sure, pretty much the same feelings. My lover says Assad has the same kind of lover, the same kind of, is being driven by the same passions, his feelings.
Though this is all in us, yeah. But we neglect this archetype of lover, of a real warrior, of a magician. We are always the same. And we have to step outside of our box. And if we step into these different archetypes, we develop different views on the world. And we will end up with different solutions and with a different set of actions.
As the lover, Bernie quickly moves to the deepest level of loving and feeling love. He refers to himself by his Hebrew name, Dov, which carries strong family affection. And he slips at one point from saying, "My lover says," to "my mother says." At the point at which Bernie is contemplating his love for his mother, Robbins asks Bernie to say something about Assad. In the midst of feeling so loving and loved, Bernie answers that he sees Assad as having the same lover, the same passion, as being fully equivalent. When Bernie identifies with the extreme imaginary entity of his lover, he realizes that Assad must experience the same emotional processes.
Where's your sovereign? There we go. Make the sounds of your sovereign, the king, the wise king, who knows what you're made for, who knows the road ahead.
I understand.
So who of you is aware that you have the archetype of a sovereign, of a king, of a queen? So who of you put yourself on a daily basis in the state of a king or a queen? Do you know that you are kings and queens? Do you know that you deserve to be treated like kings and queens? Yeah, are you aware of that? And you know, if you put yourself in the state of a sovereign, of a king and a queen, that people will treat you like kings and queens. However, you have to start the process.
Fellas, the king says to Bernie, you can put one hand up here. The king wants control.
The king says to Bernie, choose your words carefully. The sovereign says, speak only after great thought. The sovereign says,
So the sovereign tells him a lot about trivium. Choose your words wisely. That's rhetoric. And the other thing is about grammar. Listen. We make a small break. We are back in 5 minutes, yeah? Welcome back. Is there still anybody out there? However, not enough. I will only proceed when we are 50. No. Okay, today I make an exception. Okay. Hello.
choose your emotions with care. The sovereign says, choose your expressions.
As the sovereign, Bernie recognizes that not only we can choose our words and our thoughts, but also our emotions.
So who is aware that he is in a position to choose his emotion? Only somebody who is aware that he is a king or a queen. Slaves cannot choose their emotions. Robots, bio-robots are not able to choose their emotions. But we as queens and kings have this kind of freedom.
What's the question, Assad, that you want to resolve within yourself, or the conflict
you want to resolve within yourself? You said you came here with enormous frustration.
I guess I'm wondering what is it that I feel that they're taking from me
Okay.
that is making my life less.
So what if we made the question, what is it that I've been focusing on that makes me believe someone is making me less? And what could I do today to no longer ever feel less again? Because that would resolve it then.
Yes.
Okay, does that work for you?
Yes.
Okay, great. Why don't you stand up? And what I want you to do is, let's start with your warrior. Where's your warrior? From that place, make the sounds of your warrior.
And what he will do now really surprised me. He just asked him and he reacted, and I was a little bit surprised.
Do it again. Do it again.
So he just asked him and he did that. You know, you are now a little bit accustomed because I'm doing that all the time. But there I experienced it really the first time. And I would never ever come to the idea to make it a little bit sounds like him.
Now, from your warrior, tell me the answer to this question. What is it that you believe they have been taking from you that makes you feel less? And what can you do today so that you no longer have to live in reaction and can become free forever?
The warrior sing.
Though this is the thing, that we don't live in a state of reaction. Many people are living in a state of reaction. We have to change in a way of action. You understand that, how powerful it is? Quit living in a state of reaction. A sovereign and a real warrior lives in a state of action, not reaction. A slave lives in a state of reaction. And we just have to change in a state of action. Do you feel like this word of guilt when you switch in a state of action? Many of those outside feel a little bit guilty when they start stepping in a state of action. Because slave only reacts. A sovereign, a warrior, lives in a state of action. And you just quit this idea of feeling of being a slave. If you shift in a state of a warrior or a sovereign. And then it's easy to live in a state of action. And this is what we have to do now. We have to shift now, living in a state of action.
Let's fight together.
Let's fight together. Let's fight together. Is this an idea? Is this a concept?
Who is he speaking of? The warrior says, who's to fight together?
All of us, everyone.
Does it sound like a concept? That we fight together? Fight our oppressor? Identify our oppressor? And step in a state of action.
The warrior says, let's fight together in order to what?
in order to do something new, to feel something new, to experience something different.
The warrior says we should fight together for what?
For freedom.
Of whom?
Of our captured hearts and minds.
This sounds like a concept. So the warrior comes to totally new conclusions. Conclusions he never thought about. That our minds and hearts are captured.
Have the Lord tell us how. How do we fight together for our captured hearts and minds? Warrior says.
The warrior says, put your swords down, take off your armor, walk to the other side, and look into the eyes of the person you're fighting.
This would be a very important format for our policemen and soldiers. Is it? No, not, sorry, policemen and politicians. So this is a very strong recommendation for policemen and politicians and some medical personnel to really look in the hearts and eyes of those people they are fighting against.
And then give them a hug.
Ask the warrior, how can a warrior do that? Ask the warrior, how can a warrior do that when they know so much pain has been induced? So much hurt. How can one walk to that side, look in the eyes and hug? The warrior knows. Ask the warrior.
The warrior says, show your cuts and bruises to your enemy and tell them to give you a band-aid.
Assad's answers as the warrior are greatly accelerated by Bernie's process that Assad has assimilated in a profound way. The fighting has become communal. We fight together in the same way we play volleyball together, and the opponents are not other people but our own limiting patterns. Assad's metaphors of disarming himself and of opening up physically and emotionally to his enemy attest to the empathy he has gained in relation to Bernie. Now, not only he is empathetic to the other situation, he even demands empathy by asking for a band-aid. As each man witnesses the other's struggle to identify with each archetype, both can't help but to realize that they are equals and part of the same emotional universe. Warrior to warrior, Bernie and Assad are beginning to reach indirect agreement. They are both warriors who do not want war.
This is a concept. If we accept that we are warriors, if we reestablish our archetype of a warrior, we'll immediately come to the conclusion that we don't want war.
As
The warrior says, stop fighting and start healing.
the warrior says,
I'm tired.
That's right. I'm tired. Warrior says.
The warrior says, I want to chill and have some olives.
Let's chill and have some olives.
So perhaps when some policemen are coming to our homes in Lavantal, we should have some olives available. Is it? It will break their pattern. And some good green tea, for sure.
The warrior says.
So you allow them only to enter if they first take olives.
Warrior says, let's go climb some mountains and let's go cut some trees and let's go raft some rivers and swim some oceans.
Yes, those are things warriors are made to do, but they don't have much time for them, and all they do is fight. Warriors are people of action, people of courage. All those things are active use of the warrior in a courageous way. It causes the warrior to face fear and to triumph. The purpose of the warrior is to find within you a greater level of inner strength, not to fight with others. This warrior.
So the warrior starts finding inner strength. How strong is your warrior? Between 0 and 10. What would you say? How strong is your warrior? Tell me. Heidi, at what strength is your warrior, actually?
I
Pardon?
think at 8.
8.
8.
8. Okay. Come on, tell me. The rest of you. Switch on your cameras, the rest of you. So I don't show you, don't see your names. So who is on a level of 5 or below 5? 6? 7? What's your name? At 7?
My name is Anna.
Anna. Okay. So what you have to do to elevate yourself in a state of, oh no, what do you have to do to get down in the state of 5? What do you have to picture in your mind?
I have to feel more helpless
Okay, just do it.
and wear masks.
Okay, just think about wearing a mask and feeling helpless.
Mm.
You're now in the state of 5?
I become aggressions.
Okay, in which state are you now, you warrior?
4.
4, yes, I knew. And okay, get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So get again in a state of 7. Okay, now go in a state of 9. What do you have to do? What do you have to imagine, to envision? What do you have to go? Let go.
Worries about, is this possible? Can I do this? Yeah.
Okay. What do you envision? Do you have a goal that you're going for? And envision this goal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you envision yourself in a state that you achieved this goal already. And you're celebrating. And you're proud of yourself. And you are looking your friends hugging you. And you look into their eyes with it, and you look in eyes that represented deep respect for the things you did in the past. In what state of a warrior you're now?
11.
Good. So is this possible?
Of course, yes.
Do you feel better?
Yes.
So why shouldn't we? Is there any reasonable answer why shouldn't we?
No.
It's as easy as that.
It can't be so easy.
It can't be so easy. No, it's not
But
possible.
it is. I know, yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Mhm. Thank you.
So, welcome.
Really knows that. This is a mature warrior, not a dumb kid. Mature warrior understands. The purpose of a warrior is to break through fear, which is the whole reason for war is fear. A true warrior breaks through fear. They do it by training themselves in other ways other than war. The warrior says,
So a real warrior breaks through fear. And it starts in your mind. It starts in your mind and proceeds in your feelings. Just ask yourself other questions. Just make yourself other pictures in your mind. It is as easy as that.
The warrior says, Assad, your demon is tired, so you can chill.
the demon's tired, so let's chill. The warrior says, Assad,
The warrior says, Assad, make love.
ask your warrior what he values most now, because he's matured, obviously. What does he value most now? The warrior says, I value.
The warrior says, I value inner power.
Inner power. The warrior says, I value.
Joy.
Very nice.
Passion.
Passion.
Love. Desire. Courage.
Let's go to your magician. Okay? And make the sounds of your magician. Okay, make the sounds of your magician again. And we ask your magician, what is it that I've been focusing on so much that it makes me feel like they're taking it from me and therefore I'm less? And what can I focus on, believe, or understand forever now, or do that'll free me from this so I'll never again feel less than, nor will I have to force someone to know that I am more than? The magician says,
The magician says,
Remember the magician? See it in the blink of an eye. The magician is that part that sees the humor in it. The magician is a little impish fun. The magician can make a change in a second that someone else has to fight for.
Magician says, you're not having fun.
So, do we have fun in Lavantal?
Never.
Never
It's
ever.
not allowed here.
Magician says, you're not in love. Magician says, find the passion.
Find the passion.
Magician says, smell the flowers. Eat some olives. And volleyball is cool too.
Volleyball is cool too.
So, you know, at the beginning of the process, yeah, everybody in the room thought they will beat themselves, each other, to the ground. And now this start to happen.
Magician says, go plant some flowers, fall in love, make love, and go eat some olives.
Magician says, Assad.
Magician says, Assad, just be a kid again. It's okay. It's cool.
Let's go to your lover.
Yeah, baby.
The lover says,
it's about time.
The lover says,
The lover says, it's okay to fight. Just fight with love.
Very nice. Very nice. What does the lover mean?
The lover means whenever you're out there, fighting the demons of your own limitations, do it with spirit, and do it with heart, and do it with love.
So fight the demons of your own limitation. What's about that? Does that make sense? Yeah. Does it make sense to be in a civilization where you are educated in things about that? And not this stupid bullshit you learned at school. Imagine our kids are educated in these things that really work. And you know, this happens on 11th of December, sorry, 11th of September 2001. And if I wouldn't witness it on that very day, I would come to the conclusion this is fake, this is staged. But it was real, it is real.
The lover says,
The lover says, eat some olives.
it must be peace food. The lover says,
The lover says, listen to the ocean. Hear the peaceful melody of the waves. The lover says, walk on the sand. Let the sunshine soak into your heart and your soul. The lover says, hold hands. The lover says, look into your own eyes and find the love that's always been there. The lover says, let the flower in every cell of your body bloom. Lover says, volleyball is good. Lover says, let's play, and then let's play and then make love.
The lover says, Assad,
Lover says, Assad, just smile.
just smile. The lover says, Assad,
The lover says, Assad, there is a brother and a sister on the other side, and a mother and a father, and a son and a daughter. And it's all here in your heart too. So if you kill, you're killing a part of yourself.
where is your sovereign?
The sovereign says,
So really think about, we are teaching these things in our tribes, in the locations where we establish our tribes. Can you imagine how strong this is? And this is true. It's really possible.
if you're having fun, and if you're making love and having olives and playing volleyball, then there are no problems. Sovereign says, it's time to put down the weapons and sing.
Sovereign says. What's the hesitancy when you tell me what the sovereign says?
It's too big.
What's too big? The sovereign.
So who's sovereign's telling yourself it's too big? I think there are many sovereigns inside of us telling us ourselves it's too big. Is this possible? We are divine beings. Nothing is too big for us. Nothing is too big if we let go our limitations. If we step really in this conscience of being kings and queens, that we treat our queens as queens and not just as women. We kings have to treat our queens as queens, is it? And you queens have to treat your kings as kings, or as messiahs, something like that. Okay.
Too big. It's too big for me.
You're not big enough to be a king. Ask the magician what he thinks of that.
Magician's laughing.
Ask the magician if this is you or not, if the sovereign is also you.
It is if I have the courage.
Ask your lover if you have the courage.
Yeah, baby.
Ask your warrior if you have the courage.
It's time for a new kind of courage.
Oh.
It's time for a new kind of courage. Do you agree?
Ask the three of them to take you personally and introduce you to the sovereign. Because there is something you may not have considered, that the sovereign is really God in you, as you, guiding you, is you.
Though, do you think there's a sovereign inside of you who's actually God and who's actually guiding you? That there's a force guiding you. And this force has designed a plan which is guiding all of us. And when you accept that, there's nothing too big for us. There's nothing too big for us.
If that's not too big. What's the magician saying right now while he's watching all this?
Magician's looking at his watch and saying it's about time.
What's the lover saying right now?
So the magician is looking on his watch and saying, it's about time. So true.
He's saying, the sooner you do it, the sooner we'll fall in love.
The sooner we do it, the sooner we fall in love. Yes.
What's the warrior saying?
some fun.
Go to the sovereign. Go to your sovereign. Is it you? Tell you what, make him a prince. Don't make him a king.
Okay.
That you can do.
Yes.
Okay, make him a prince.
All right.
Sovereign says, Assad, never forget. Always remember.
Never forget.
Always remember.
Always remember. There's a mother and a sister and a father and a son and a daughter. And they feel the same kind of love and the same kind of pain as your own mother, as your own sisters, as your own father. And you're all family anyway.
This really had happened. And they became friends and worked together after that. They were fierce enemy if this process was started. And they end up becoming friends and started a project. So everything is possible. Everything is possible. We have just to take away our limitations and have to find the way how we turn around the things. Everything is possible. And we are now in the times where these impossible things have to be made possible. So do you think there's anything not possible? Do you think we have to make it and we will make it? Okay. So I would say lesson learned. Thank you for today. Have a big hug, a big, big hug. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.